All good?
I don't like
Let's
it.
then.
I just go by oddity.
Oddity?
Yeah.
What does oddity even mean?
To me, it is just a different way of thinking, a different perspective, particularly in the genre of hip hop. A lot of people think it's an acronym. They want to make up some acronym for it. That's cool. I just like the way it looks. So, and it fits into the name, Oddity.
So, after explaining oddity, you know, where did Impaired Vision, where did the album name come from anyway?
It stemmed from just a frustration with social media, a frustration with just being out and seeing this all the time, just this wherever people are, whether they're with friends, family, by themselves. A frustration of how influential TV is, YouTube is, anything with a screen that we have access to, how it's almost a nature versus nurture. And for a lot of people, television and now in modern times, screens, tablets, iPhones are nurturing the way that kids think and grow up. Everyone is born with a clean slate, right? And it used to just be your family or your friends, whoever directly was around you was how your morals and your train of thought grew. And now there's so many outside influences that it's impairing their vision. They're impairing their clean slate, their untainted vision.
Beautiful. How did Impaired Vision as a whole come to be? Where did the inspiration come from?
I go two approaches. So with this album, it was more so I started writing a song. I didn't have an idea for the album. Writing has always been something that I've had a passion for, even when I didn't know. Example of that is my grandma used to be on me. When I would write papers, I'd be at her house after school, and she had a thesaurus making me look at synonyms of, you've used good 3 times in this paragraph. No, you have to find another word. So I didn't realize, but I was becoming more passionate, and it was tedious at the time and I hated it, but you start to realize like these words are cool. It's cool to find new ways to say things. It's cool to expand your vocabulary. So that's the basis of my writing, and then I start to build out from 1 or 2 songs. The main producer on this, I think he's got 10 or 11 of the songs. Wu Sensei, he's pushed me lyrically. Yeah, I know it's kind of like, how does someone who makes beats push you lyrically? But he told me working with me has pushed him to think outside of that box and expand his way of making beats. You get in a comfort zone of like, I like the calm boom bap, I like the calm typical hip hop beats, you know, and you can tell a story easy. And then he sends these beats that are just like totally different lane than I'm used to. You know, he's making beats for some big name artists. I think he's gone gold a couple of times on some production. He just went platinum on a song. So he has a lane that's working for him, right? But at first it's intimidating because you're like, what am I supposed to do it? Like, what am I supposed to do with this? This isn't me. But then you listen to it and it like pushes you to like think outside of the box. Like, how can I approach this? There's so many sounds, there's so many switch ups. I want to hear the sounds. And that's how my flow is so changing, because whether it's me following the drums, the piano, the guitar, the little ding ding, whatever the sounds are, my subconscious is just like, all right, go with that. So for me, it's the beat first. I don't write lyrics and then have the beat made. And he sent some beats that really pushed me in a good way, and I think I've evolved through this album.
So, inspiration, influence, you can't be anywhere without the people that encouraged you to get into this industry. Who opened your mind to the world of music?
The music aspect came from my dad. He always, you know, we're in a car riding around as a kid playing just all kinds of music. And my father wasn't in my life for a lot of it, but from 1 to 5 he was, and that's like the most instrumental time in your development of like what you value and what you like. Like I said, nature versus nurture, right? So being in the backseat of his car just listening to 90s hip hop, and then he used to be in a band growing up, so you know he knew how to play drums and keyboard and stuff, and that encouraged, you know, my brother is self-taught piano and guitar because of that. So it's like a genetic thing, but it's also just being around someone like that. But Other than that, it's just been self-progressive. Like, I am very retrospective, and I like to talk from my experiences because I think, you know, I've lived them, so I have the best frame of reference. You can't really force experiences. You can't force how things go. I know for a lot of artists, best music comes from pain, which is unfortunate. And losing my grandma and my dad, and some, you know, I've lost cousins, some friends in the last 4 or 5 years, and like death is like the biggest wake-up call. I would say as a musical artist, like definitely talking about your pain and experiences is how most people get started. And then it's like, okay, you guys know who I am now, I can do what I want to do. It's okay to talk about whatever, because there's no defining characteristic of being a race or ethnicity. It's like people want to do what they want to do. I'm not gonna front and try to act like I was born with this and this is always. I think it's perspective and experiences and exposure, right? So I have a lot of friends growing up who never left their side of town or their neighborhood or the city that we're from. I've been fortunate enough to go to different states and go to different countries and just see things from the outside looking in.
It also sounds to me like you are okay with jumping on like this adventure or like exploring curiosity. Is curiosity something that we'll find in this album?
Maybe curiosity, but I think also to touch on the perspective thing is like, there's good perspectives, right? Like traveling and doing things like that, but then there's perspectives that happen from tragedy. And losing my grandma and my dad, death is like the biggest wake-up call. It's the biggest perspective, a negative perspective. You just see things differently and you realize, like I said, like in that track, like mortal, like I'm immortal. Like I'm not immortal, I am amortal. For me, I am a person who is drawn to authenticity and genuineness and just passion, and you're gonna get all three of those in this.
Why does this album deserve the listener's time?
I think it's just the perspective that I have. I'm influenced by a lot of genres and a lot of artists, and I've tried to combine all the best aspects of those artists that I like into something that like I think is ideal, like that I would think is ideal as a listener, and that's all I really care about. The music that I make, do I like it, and is it something that like, damn, this is like all of these artists that I like, this is what I want, you know? And that's not to say that, you know, I'm perfect or that I'm the best of all worlds. That's not it at all. It's more so just there's nothing that anyone else can do that's better, like that can do better than me, than be myself. Like no one else can be me. If you're not being yourself, then you can do all these other things are great, right? But that's the one thing no one can do better than you. And perspective for me is the biggest tool for growth and learning. If you're in the same environment constantly, that room for growth is trapped in a box. So I would encourage just something different, change perspective. For me, the only fear that I have is just not trying something that like even if you have the smallest inclination to do it, like I wonder what that'd be like. Just fucking do it.
What do you want people to gain from this music? Is it inspiration? Is it a reflection? What are you most excited about the album drop?
For it to actually drop and just seeing who connects with it and the feedback, whether, you know, it's good or bad, it doesn't bother me, but just having people interact with it, because I feel like I wanted to create a world and I want people to interact with it. I think my music should be however it's received by whoever, and I'm just speaking from my experiences. I'm not trying to speak to anyone. I'm just putting my experiences and info out there, and then whoever attaches to it does, and if they don't, they don't. But like it's not made to be geared towards, you know, pleasing or appeasing or appealing to somebody. It's made to just, it's almost like a musical journal, diary. It's like therapy for me, so it's like to get it out there. Once it's out there, it's like therapy. It's like, okay. But I think I put together a great album that is honest, transparent, and personal. And 2021, I think, is gonna be a year for people to get to know who o.D.D.I.T.Y is.